And we're live. Hello, everyone. It's Brian with TINYCRYPTOBLOG. Let's get work on this mic here. Happy Friday. It is Friday, December 15th, 2023. I feel like saying thank goodness the year is almost done. And if you haven't gotten your bingo cards for 2024 set up, now would be the time because next year could get awfully darn interesting. So, a lot of interesting stuff this week. A few things bubble to the surface that I think are particularly worthy of note. But real quickly, prices recap, prices of tokens and coins. What happened to prices this week? Prices were down. People were cashing in their gains from massive pumps from the previous several weeks. Next week, we'll see where the prices go. Regulation and legislation, the KYC Corral. The thing I'd been talking about and bringing up over the last few weeks since the Binance legal settlement became news is coming to pass. U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, I believe, has put forth legislation that would create the very end goal that I spoke of last week, which is having absolute KYC identity and totally fully identifiable transactions, knowing who came from what, when, and where, and absolutely with an end result of absolute zero sovereignty and privacy. But as far as having tools in place to monitor any potential criminal activity would be there. So I'm not too worried. I think it was U.S. President Warren Harding who I saw quoted once as saying, you see 10 boulders coming down towards you down the road, 9 of them are going to fall into the wayside. And I think this is something that is probably going to get a lot of pushback. It's probably going to have a lot of loud support, but it's also going to have a degree of pushback. I imagine where the Wall Street money comes in, that's going to be a factor. And before I forget, I'm going to make a banner here live as we go. Institutional money, because it's definitely something that is happening. But yes, regulation, that was the big thing. It was part of a bill. And then there was something in, so the United States passes every year. The president has to authorize it. I want to say it was like the Defense Authorization Act or something like that, where it gained more notoriety and awareness during Barack Obama's time as president, where it authorizes the funding, and it's something that's done as an executive order, which is sort of like presidential decree that authorizes funding of a whole bunch of different stuff within governmental apparatus and departments and whatnot. And this year there was a whole bunch of legislation that people tried to tack on to see if they can get that passed with it, and it got scraped from the bill. So there may be some sensible people and there may be some good people still in decision-making bodies. So there's hope. Moving on, what do we have next? Next is institutional money. With the proceeding of progress, I believe in the last week we have seen Fidelity's spot Bitcoin ETF formally get the ticker listed on whatever the clearinghouse is called, the same that BlackRock had reported maybe 2 months ago. Fidelity's was now reported. So, and then there's also related to that, Gary Gensler made comments that I saw in a Twitter clip that essentially affirmed it's go. The big speculation is that the next ending of the comments period is in January. I think it's January 9th to the 16th. So if something's going to go live, or if a batch from is going to go live, it's going to go live then. unless they're all pushed back to a further date for whatever reasons. Related to the Bitcoin SPOT ETFs was BlackRock amended their filing to allow for cash entry into it, meaning if there were an entity such as an uber wealthy individual or a large institutional fund, investment fund, pension fund, what have you, instead of having to purchase Bitcoin and then pony up Bitcoin to purchase new shares of the ETF, they could just go and give BlackRock cash, US dollars, and US dollars to have new shares issued. From an adoption standpoint, that adds flexibility to how the investment funds that are going to start diversifying into a Bitcoin ETF with exposure. It gives them additional options, but also someone pointed out that is sort of the real crappy way that they can do an end around and give Grayscale with their GBTC, who already has all their Bitcoin to back the shares of their what's currently a trust and what I'm going to imagine could probably get converted to an ETF, gives BlackRock and probably other institutions that would follow suit a way to do like an end around where it would pretty much screw Grayscale. So I know someone was saying something. It might have been Matt Odell and Marty Bent on Rabbit Hole Recap, where they were talking about I think it might have been what Bitcoin did with Peter McCormack. No. Sorry. Preston Pish with Hodl, what's his name? American Hodl. And I don't remember the other gentleman's name. And they mentioned how they wanted to, the main players on Wall Street and banking and finance wanted to knock Barry Silbert. Yeah, it was them. Barry Silbert down a peg with Digital Currency Group and Grayscale. And this would be one of the mechanisms that they could do that. Also, the last few weeks I've been seeing headlines about banks that would offer trading services, the same as Fidelity, where you can buy, you can sell, you could have them custody your Bitcoin, probably Ethereum, maybe a few other tokens, and banks that are doing custody services. So expect to see more headlines for large institutions, US, Europe, Asia, worldwide, where they'll be offering trading, buying, selling, and custody services. PayPal, you already have that option. I don't think you are able to withdraw and do self-custody of the coins and tokens. Venmo may have started it, and I know Robinhood, earlier in 2023, they rolled that out where they were starting with a limited audience, and I don't know if it's for all customers now, certain customers. I've never dealt with Robinhood. I've never used the app, and haven't done any digging in the news. So if you know what's what, feel free to leave a comment below and let everyone know. And so we're going to see that. And then that's going to tie into the last point. But next, I want to skip into what's probably the biggest chunk of news which came out, which was Ledger. They have their Ledger X, Ledger S, Ledger Nano, which are cold storage wallets. If you don't know what a cold storage wallet is, a cold storage wallet compared to, say, a hot wallet. Hot wallet would be a wallet that's on your phone, on your computer, your laptop, and it's essentially on a device that is continually, or when it's running, connected to the internet. So there's that vulnerability where if someone can gain access to your computer, they could potentially get access to your wallet and then get access to all the cryptocurrencies that wallet has connected to it. Whereas a cold storage wallet is a wallet that you use to interface with all the different blockchains. You can send and receive, and when you're not using it, it's completely detached. It's almost like the Ledger Nano looks a lot like a flash drive. You plug it into a USB port, or you power it up through a USB cable, and then you enter a passphrase. And then with Ledger, they have a software, Ledger Live, I think it's called, which is an interface software so that you get graphics. You can have a GUI interface to receive tokens, send tokens, and they also offer services such as, I know they used to have a lending where you could lend crypto, staking services they offer. You can use it to connect, if you've got Ethereum connected to Lido, and do Ethereum staking. And probably other services. I know they have a service like a password backup service that was controversial some time back just because of back-end vulnerabilities in the code and third-party risk as well. Well, if you remember, just last week, someone was going through the code and they discovered that there was code in there which pointed towards, if you used Ledger Live, the data was shared with third-party service providers, and which created a security vulnerability. And if that party gets breached, well, okay, guess what? Someone can access your data. Or if the federal government comes in, or a state government subpoenas them, puts the squeeze on them essentially, your data can be revealed that way. So if you were trying to use Ledger for privacy, it's not private. Well, this week, I just heard last night, rabbit hole recap, that there was another catch within the code that someone had inserted in one of the updates. And I don't know if it was for their Ledger Live or for the operating system software of the cold storage wallet itself. I didn't have time to do any digging to verify it. But if an attacker is able to access your device or get into your account, they can do a drain of any ERC20 tokens. So anything on Ethereum. Meaning 1 minute you're checking and you see what you've got. You go make yourself a cup of coffee. You come back 5 minutes later. Wait, why is there nothing on here? Why is everything gone? Because it got drained. There was a code hack. I'm going to say, for me, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. There have just been too many instances of vulnerabilities that expose users to unnecessary risk. I mean, it's great that they have a versatile device, an easy-to-use device that people can do that has a lot of functionality. But between this and also back in, I think it was 2018 or 19, maybe it's in 20, where their database, like in their early days, and then up until today, you could purchase devices directly from Ledger. Well, there was a user leak where you saw pretty much the name, the registered address, and private information. Nothing financial like credit card numbers or bank account numbers, anything like that. But you could find out who purchased a Ledger Nano. So you could go in there and see, oh, Andreas Antonopoulos. Hey, he's a customer. Oh, this guy, he's a customer. She's a customer. Oh, hey, there I am. I'm a customer. And that was a huge data leak, and I think it was the first straw. And then just with the level of threats in place, and also with the stakes getting higher, with the value of coins and tokens going up, it's more imperative than ever to be aware of third-party risk, especially if you have self-custody in mind, to just make sure that you are covered and protected from these vulnerabilities, because you don't need something like all of your ERC20 tokens hacked, drained. You don't need to have private information revealed that if you were using KYC-free Bitcoin, for example, and you used Ledger Nano and the state puts the squeeze on this debt, whoever is holding this data, all of a sudden, well, it's no longer KYC free because now they know. Now they know, okay, this person has Bitcoin. And then all their sovereignty is lost. It's gone. They may as well have just bought it off an exchange. So there's numerous in the last few years. There have been a lot of companies that have come out with cold storage wallets. A few that come to mind only because I hear their names mentioned a lot. One is Cold Card. That one might be a Bitcoin only cold storage wallet, and that's what I'm looking into. I heard that Jack Dorsey's company Block, I think it was Block, they came out with an easy-to-use cold storage wallet. There's vulnerabilities from a security standpoint, but if you want something that has the functionality and ease of use similar to that of like a Ledger device, this would be good. I'm forgetting a BitKey, I think it was called, and it had 3 points where of reset that you can pull from. So there was numerous advantages to that, similar to a multi-sig wallet, which means multiple signature, meaning you need like a multi-sig wallet, you need almost like movies when you have to have 2 keys to set off the missiles. You need 2 of 3 keys to launch the missiles, in this case to access your cold storage and enact transactions. I believe Trezor they've got a decent interface. They've been around for a while. They're one of the longer standing players. And as far as I'm aware, they've not had the drama and vulnerabilities that Ledger has had. And I know Keith at Crypto Coin Mindset, there is a particular device, particular cold card that he uses, and he recently switched over to it exclusively. I'd have to look into that one. The name's not coming to mind off the top of my head. But these are the main themes that have made it into the headlines this week. And the final thing for my commentary this week is look who's coming to town. The newbies for this cycle. So this week, there was on TFTC, Marty Bent, Tales from the Crypt. He had a gentleman on there named Fred Krueger. The title of the video was "The ETF Will Push Bitcoin to 500K." And he is a gentleman, Fred Krueger is a gentleman that comes from traditional finance, very much embedded within that world. And he brought the way he spoke, the guy, I seriously question if he could call himself a Bitcoiner. If he's a Bitcoiner, it's kind of like an air quote Bitcoiner, or maybe like a lowercase b Bitcoiner. He understood Bitcoin, understood the protocol, and he brought a really good perspective, because you could see people who are non-coiners or no coiners people who are not into the freedom tech or the nuts and bolts of how Bitcoin works, he was able to explain their point of view really good, which I think it's worth watching for those of us who are really deep in the weeds and understand, can explain to someone how Bitcoin works and, why its properties are fantastic and why humanity will benefit, and why Bitcoin fixes so many things. He brings a perspective that I've mentioned before, that with the waves of mainstream adoption, as the energy of Bitcoin penetrates further and further into the public consciousness, and we have more mainstream adoption, you're going to have that, well, it's probably going to be more like a long week, a distribution, a bell curve, a distribution where, or just, you could just say it's probably an 80-20, where 20% of the people who interact with Bitcoin in some way, shape, or form care about those characteristics in the freedom tech and what it enables for financial independence, what it allows for having a 24/7 peer-to-peer network with no intermediaries, that's censorship resistant, that has a publicly auditable blockchain and is fully decentralized, or as decentralized as you can get. And the other 80% are people who Bitcoin is the same as a real estate ETF, buying shares as a proxy of value in a company like Apple or Microsoft or Cisco Systems or an oil company or Campbell's Soup or Siemens Manufacturing, whatever it is. For them, it's all about price action and having exposure to the price movement. They don't know, they don't care about its characteristics. They don't give three flying rats about the history of Satoshi Nakamoto and all the technology in the preceding years that led up to the creation of Bitcoin. For them, it's just, oh yeah, this asset's going up, I want exposure to it. Or as has been mentioned many times before by different people, it's just another asset class to have exposure to in your investment portfolio, your IRA, your 401k, your pension fund, whatever it is. And for those people, I think I use, what's the term? So this gentleman, Fred Krueger, is able to explain the mentality and the mindset both of the people investing into the derivative products that get exposure to Bitcoin's price action, but also the people managing the funds, running the funds, making policy decisions on asset classes within those funds, bankers and such. And for them, it's just another asset to monetize. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it's going to be. It'll be up for the people of the freedom tech to continue to make noise, be a strong vocal community, and to ensure that the properties that gave Bitcoin its life continue to do so. And you could carry this over with other tokens and protocols that seek to have decentralized, somewhat decentralized, or just distributed peer-to-peer networks for whatever it is, whether it's smart contract platforms, DeFi platforms, tokenization, you have it. Within the context of Bitcoin, oh gosh, what did I call? Oh, and I try and be careful in how I use this term, but I think even if you don't apply anything mean-spirited to it, it still applies. They are Fauxcoiners, F-A-U-X, Fauxcoiners, because they're people who, they're not Bitcoin, people that just buy an ETF or shares of an ETF. They're not Bitcoiners any more than people who buy shares in a real estate ETF are real estate moguls, or people who buy shares in an oil or a gold or silver ETF or oil drillers or metal miners. You just have exposure to it. And these people are Fauxcoiners because all they have is exposure to a derivative product tied to the price movement of Bitcoin. So I also imagine too, on a related note, here, I'll use this moment to take a pause in our thoughts. And I'll keep the title. I think it's appropriate. Or not. One thing that I've noticed going back to the 2017 cycle and the 2020 to 21 cycle was that as prices go up, we're going to see a lot of people, primarily on social media, who are going to be tooting their horns about how unbelievable geniuses they are because they got into name your token, name your protocol, and name your price point or point in time. And now they're up so much, it's almost like the meme where it's like a pencil sketch and the guy's pointing to himself in the mirror, trying to say affirmations to verify that, yes, you are that smart. Well, a lot of people are going to be puffing their chests, crowing about how smart they are. Most of those people are full of shit and they're going to have their asses handed to them. But that's okay. That's part of the learning process. I'm telling you this so that you have that awareness and you don't fall into that same trap. Keep learning. Don't get caught up in the prices. Understand the protocols. Understand how they apply within the sphere of human behavior. Understand the people behind projects. Understand the tokenomics of a given token as far as the rate of inflation, how it's issued, who controls the validation, are there voting rights that can change the protocol, how is the protocol changed, and learn to take a step back and put things into perspective, and you'll have the proper tools to develop the humbleness that you need to, well, not get your ass handed to you, quite frankly. I learned the hard steps about knowing what to do and what not to do, and those little tidbits for frame of mind, and that's fine. That happens. But yeah, we're going to see a lot of sudden geniuses pop on the scene, and by all means, give them a poke in the ribs, give them a nudge, laugh at them, knock them down a peg, put them in their place. There's nothing wrong with that. If they're not willing to accept criticism, well, that's on them then. So we'll see who comes through in this cycle. We'll also see in 2017, you had ICOs, the initial coin offerings, where you, in one of the use cases that popped up for Ethereum, was sending your Ethereum to a contract and receiving tokens for a given project. Well, 2017 cycle was ICOs. In 2021, it was NFT artwork, and to a little bit of extent DeFi. That kind of kicked up during the bear market and really took off in 1920 and 21. but it was the NFT art that was the big deal. And this cycle, I don't know. Maybe it's GameFi. Maybe it's gaming tokens. Maybe it's rewards tokens. Maybe it's something Web3, whatever the hell Web3 is defined as these days. Maybe it'll be something with tokenization. I don't know, but we're going to find out whether we like it or not. So brace yourselves, stay humble. And I think with that, that wraps up the big topics for the week and some commentary of things to keep in mind to help you to gain perspective on what's going on in this crazy world around you, and giving you some extra tools and perspectives to kind of look at things and, well, do a little bit better for yourself and to be able to help others as well, so that you can help others, they can help others, and we all do better. As Charles Hoskinson said last week, why are you here? Are you here to just earn a buck? Are you here for the freedom tech and making a better world? I mean, know what you're here for and pursue it. And personally, I hope you're here for the freedom tech and for the better world. Because if that happens too, we're going to get the other one, which is the price appreciation. So win-win in that case. So with that, you can follow Tiny Crypto Blog at tinycryptoblog.com. And also catch all the live streams and shorts and videos on the social media and video platforms listed in the show notes. And with that, be well, everyone. End stream. Talk to you soon.